This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
Good morning and thanks for being with us. This is the interview segment on the Morning Drive Providence Television International, and I have with me in the studio the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm also an employee of the organization, so it's nice to be with you, the viewers. I'm very happy that you keep on being there for us. Thank you very much.
Well, we'll move down straight to the topic for today. But first of all, my name is Ugbebo Ikekwa. The topic today, tackling insecurity in Nigeria. Where do we start from?
Where are we? Where do we start from? And what are the things involved? First of all, security is a necessary part of national development. A nation that is not secure will sooner rather than later lose its sovereignty. That is a hard fact, right? So security is very essential. And it is uppermost in the Constitution that any government in power must look at the welfare and the security of life and property. It is so stated in the Constitution. And without insecurity or without security. People will flee. If you ask people who are traveling abroad now, who are fleeing the country, part of the problem, two things they are fleeing for. One is the economy, and the other, of course, is insecurity. Because everybody wants to live in a safe environment. All right. But the irony is that the people up there, they are the ones who get policemen and all sort of security people around them. So, who are the victims? Poor people, average people. They are usually the victims, okay? And what is responsible for insecurity is the fact that we have not addressed the fundamental issues. I'm happy, somebody was talking about, I think it was General Abdul Salam, when we were going through the papers, that poverty, illiteracy, up north, these are the indices that he mentioned. And a lot of governors in the north are now addressing the situation. They have now come to terms with the real issue. When you have margeries all over the place, these children will grow, and they'll get to realize that they have been shortchanged. So they take it back on the society. That's what we have been saying, all right? We're talking about banditry, we're talking about terrorism and all sorts of things. And, of course, illiteracy. They don't believe in Western education. And yet it is Western education that created the guns that they are carrying all over the place.
Yeah, they use laptops now.
They even use laptops. Who created the laptops? Through what avenue were those laptops created? Through Western education, science, right? So that is wrongful thinking, very wrongful. And I believe that a lot of things can still be done. First of all, we must look at the political will on the part of government. There must be the will. It's not enough to just say that, the bandits or the terrorists must surrender. Even America, you know what they went through in Afghanistan. Yes, it's not easy to fight terrorists, but you must fight them to a standstill. Okay? And as I've often said, this is a war, it's not a regular kind of combat. You must fight the war with technology. There must be serious information gathering, right? And there must be room for technology to play its role properly. What do I mean by this? What I mean is, we must, before the strike, you must do something to avoid or to lessen the power of their forces. Something must be done to weaken their resolve. How do you do that? It's not on the battlefront. And the people is like a ragtag army. They hit, go back, they hit and go back. How many times have they ransacked the whole of Sambisa forest? Because that's where they hide, so we are told. How many times have they done that? But worse still, it's been said on many occasions that some of our highly placed officers are collaborating with these bandits or terrorists.
Okay.
Some of them have not even denied it.
Mm.
Okay? So that is one part. We must allow political will to also play its role. A lot of money is budgeted every year. In our defense budget, we make room for the fight against terrorism. But where has it led us? Where? You will even hear sometimes that the terrorists have superior firepower.
Exactly.
In other words, the money we vote does not make sense anymore. Okay. Coupled with that, are we fighting it with all our strength? I would say to a very large extent, and I'm sorry to say that we've lost a lot of Nigerians in battle. Yes, poor innocent souls. May their souls continue to rest in peace. Some of them have said it loud and clear that they're not even getting their dues. They are put on the front line, and they are not getting their dues. These things don't trickle down, and yet they are in battle. Many of them have decided to run away. We read it in the newspapers.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absent without leave.
Absent without leave. Okay? So we must look at the welfare of our men and women in combat. Must look at their welfare properly to encourage them and to ensure that, yes, they have not done a wrong thing by defending this country at that kind of situation.
All right.
Right.
Let us look at.
But I've not finished.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we must also look at the prosecution
Okay.
of those who are found guilty. Yes. There should be no sacred cow to serve as a deterrent to others who might be willing to go on the same trajectory.
Okay.
No matter how highly placed. Don't say because I belong to the ruling party or whatever that I'm in safe haven. If you are guilty of this, it's an offense against the state.
Okay.
Yes, and it must be seen as such. How can you be hobnobbing with a terrorist who are daily killing our people on the front line? So I believe that this is a very tough job for the president, but it is doable. It can be done. I'm happy now that he has said that the terrorists must be counting their days. Let us see what happens in the next 1 month, probably.
Okay. I wanted us to look at this issue. So many people have clamored for the invitation of foreign assistance in the fight against terrorism. Are you of this view too?
If it has gone completely out of hand, why not? But it's a shame. Yes. But we have an army that is strong enough. The army doesn't want mercenaries. You saw that in newspaper. Because it will weaken their own resolve. And it will also weaken the command structure of the armed forces. All right? We have an army that the whole of Africa should be proud of, because we are the biggest, we have the biggest population on the continent of Africa. And our armed forces should be well respected. And it should not be seen as a ragtag army. I know that they go on missions abroad and they excel. Why can't we do the same to replicate that same mastery of the game here at home? There's no reason why we shouldn't. But added to that is the fact that we must also encourage the vigilante groups. Yes, vigilante groups. Look at what Amotekun is doing in the West, for example. It has reduced to a very large extent. Yes. And I believe that even though they are not a police force as such, we must create room for them to carry arms and ammunition.
Seriously?
Yes. Train them properly, just as Edo State was doing. Train them. And the police, mobile police ground here was their training base. Train them properly to be able to handle arms.
But there are fears that by the time they get to that stage of being able to handle, they've not started handling arms now, and they are being used by some high authorities of the state.
No. The answer to that is very simple. It's very simple. There must be room for intermittent reappraisal of what they are doing. And through that process, the people must let them know that these people are not doing it right. On a regular basis, maybe monthly or bi-monthly, they must speak out on this. If they commit very serious infractions, then it's a minus for the government. You understand? It's a big minus for government. And at that point in time, perhaps the real forces will come in to take charge of the situation. But look at the issue of state police, for instance. State police is a constitutional matter. The chief executive and the chief security officer is the governor. But in this case, How many governors in this country now have rights over the police force in their state, the police command? Yeah, the police commissioner will just tell you, oh, please, sir, I have another from above. And the position of the governor is weakened, whereas the chief security officer.
Okay.
The fear that people have, I mean, I have interviewed people on this issue. The fear that people have when you have state police, political actors might abuse such opportunities. But we cannot say because it's open to abuse that it cannot be done, because already it's a constitutional matter. And if we are practicing true federalism, then we must practice true federalism to the letter. As long as the chief security officer of the state is the governor, then we must create room for a situation where he acts truly as the chief executive of the state. Okay? So the issue of state police, and it must be open. Let's debate it. You know, let's weigh its pros and cons. That's the duty of the legislature. Call people, let us debate it, and see how it goes. If the people, the majority of the people say yes, we want state police, you give it to them. That's the issue. That's the basic thing about democracy. Right? It cannot be created by fiat. You know, because it's a constitutional matter, it must go through the crucible. Right? So that's the way it is.
So you see state policing as one of the ways that we can tackle insecurity in the country? I
think so. Yes, I think so. Well, because, they must be well trained. That provides so. They must be well trained, well kitted. Okay? And their welfare must be top notch. Look at a police force outside this country. You cannot bribe them. No, you cannot, because they are well paid, they do their job well, and they are well educated. So we must look at those indices. They are very well educated. How can you bribe them? You want to bribe the police in New York? You want to bribe the police in England? Or in Italy? No, you cannot. Because they are well paid. To even attempt to bribe them is a crime.
Exactly.
Yes, so that's the kind of culture that we must nurture in this country.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, we've seen the situations where I wouldn't want to mention one of those arms of security outfits. They come out to say they are your friends. But you find a situation where an individual goes to make some reports, is always taken against him. And so, in the issue of having to say that members of the society should be part of the fight against insecurity, beefing up the outfits, security outfits, we've not seen anything to that effect. What's your take on this?
No, it's a very simple thing. We must, I'm sure you're talking about community policing.
Exactly.
Something in that neighborhood. Community policing, everybody is involved. Security is everybody's business. But the head who occupies the number one position is important. We have seen a lot of heads of police in this country. If the head of the police force stands well and its authority trickles down, we'll have less problem. And that's why people keep talking about building strong institutions. So again, it depends on the leadership of the country. I mean, if the president, for instance, wants to make things work, you must make institutions work. Okay? That's why I'm even saying, you drive me back to what I discussed on this program earlier on. I think it was yesterday, a couple of days back. Certain heads must be elected.
Okay.
The IG must be elected. Yes.
By individuals?
We have a group, aggregate of people.
Okay.
I mentioned them, mentioned those people who should be involved.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I have said it over and over again. In this same country that you are looking at, we still have eminent people, people who can raise their heads high, free from all kinds of encumbrances. Talk about integrity, they have it. Talk about track records of service, they have it. Talk about incorruptibility, they have it. They are not incorruptible. There are still people in this country who are woven around these indices. We have them. These are people who should see them. And we know them. Government knows them.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
But at the end of the day, the chief executive, the president, picks up Inspector General of Police, and who does things according to his whims and caprices.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be. Look at the United States, for instance, and other Western democracies. The police stands on its own. It's an institution. The judiciary stands on its own. The electoral body stands on its own. These are major institutions necessary for the development of a nation. We must create room for the building of strong institutions, not strong individuals.
Okay.
Yes, we must build strong institutions, starting with the police. Yes, the police, even the head of the security forces, must be responsible to the Constitution. Okay, they must be, because they swear an oath to defend the Constitution. So they must be strong. I mean, in terms of obedience to the ground norm of this country, which is the Constitution. That's my take.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Well, the issue as regards security is a continuous issue for discourse. And so I'm giving you this promise, actually, that we'll have such other kind of discourses, especially bordering on security. On this note, I know that Dr. Egariba will definitely have a parting shot.
Passing shot, yes, why not? We have now known that a lot of things have gone wrong with the electoral system. I keep saying that. Electoral system, once it's gone awry, a lot of things go wrong. And we must build it up to the extent where both winners and losers can hug themselves, can congratulate themselves for a battle well fought. I've not seen that.
Okay.
And as long as we have not done that, the electoral system will continue to throw up the wrong people. And the wrong people cannot govern well. So that is why I think that the electoral system, I'm happy though that President Tinubu himself has said that there will be reforms. We are waiting for those reforms, even in our electoral system. Yes, because it's very fundamental to the survival of our democracy. Very, very important. And I also suggested that whoever is there as the head of the electoral body must be like Caesar's wife, above reproach. Yes.
All right. Well, the Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, has just given you a little clue as to what we'll be discussing on Thoughts and Visions of Emmanuel Egariba, the next episode, which will be coming up later today or tomorrow. Depends on, because we have quite a lot of programs lined up for your viewing delight. We'll be looking at strengthening the electoral process. It's going to be an explosive, very, very explosive interview discourse with Dr. Emmanuel Egariba on the program Thoughts and Visions of Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. On this note, I want to say thanks a lot for watching. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead.